Kobe Bryant stopped shooting in a Game 7. And that sentence still sounds impossible. On May 6, 2006, the Lakers were facing the Phoenix Suns after blowing a 3-1 series lead. Kobe had just averaged 35.4 points that season. He had scored 81 in January. He was the most dangerous scorer alive. In the first half, he had 23 points. Then things got weird. In the second half, Kobe took only 3 shots. The Lakers got crushed 121-90 and their season disappeared. Kobe said he was trying to trust his teammates. Critics saw something colder. They thought he was proving what happened when he stopped carrying everyone. Either way, the image stuck the league's deadliest scorer standing there while a playoff game slipped away right in front of him. Dennis Rodman once left the Chicago Bulls during a championship season so he could go to Las Vegas. Not after the finals. Not during the summer. In January of 1998, while the Bulls were chasing their 6th title, Rodman told Phil Jackson he needed a break. Jackson gave him 48 hours. Rodman went straight to Vegas. Then he did not come back on time. That's where the story became legendary. Michael Jordan had to go get him. The same Jordan carrying the Bulls with Scottie Pippen still working his way back had to walk into Rodman's hotel room and drag the party back to Chicago. Rodman still helped the Bulls win the title. That part matters. But so does this one of their most important players vanished, and the team's biggest star had to clean it up. Denzel Valentine had the ball a tie game and one of the strangest decisions of the 2021 season waiting in his hands. Chicago was still trying to stay alive in the play-in race. Nikola Vucevic was on the floor. Other better options were there. Valentine ignored all of it. He pulled up from way behind the three-point line with a defender near him. The shot missed badly. Jimmy Butler grabbed the rebound, got fouled, and calmly hit the free throws that won the game for Miami. Billy Donovan's face said everything, and the internet noticed immediately. Valentine later said he believed in himself. Cool. But belief is not a play call. Sometimes confidence becomes comedy, and this one became an instant NBA meme. Rajon Rondo once separated himself from the Lakers bench during a game they desperately needed. It was March 2019, and Los Angeles was sliding out of the playoff race in LeBron's first year with the franchise. Late in a blowout loss to Denver, cameras found Rondo sitting several seats away from everyone else. Not standing near the huddle, not locked in with the group. Just sitting alone in an empty courtside chair. Mark Jackson called it out on the broadcast immediately. Rondo later said he had done it before and did not understand the problem. That almost made it worse. The Lakers were already dealing with injuries, trade rumors, and collapsing chemistry. Then one veteran literally removed himself from the team picture. Sometimes the selfish moment is not a shot. Sometimes it is the seat you choose. Shaq and Kobe destroyed a dynasty while they were still good enough to keep winning. That is the wild part. The Lakers had just won 3 straight championships from 2000 to 2002. Shaq was the finals MVP every time. Kobe was becoming the best perimeter player in the league. But the power struggle never stopped. Shaq wanted everyone to know it was his team. Kobe wanted the offense, the spotlight, and eventually the franchise. Then the shots became public. Kobe questioned Shaq's conditioning. Shaq fired back in interviews, songs, and behind-the-scenes drama. By 2004, the Lakers added Karl Malone and Gary Payton and still lost to Detroit. After that, ownership chose Kobe. Shaq went to Miami, won in 2006, and proved he was not finished. Kobe won later too. But together they left rings on the table. That is the selfish part. Steve Francis was drafted 2nd overall by Vancouver and basically said no thanks. The Grizzlies were desperate. They had just finished another brutal season and needed a star who could make the franchise feel real. Francis was explosive, marketable, and coming off a strong year at Maryland. But before he ever played a game, he made it clear he did not want Canada. The reasons piled up fast. Family distance, taxes, endorsements. The whole situation became ugly before it even started. Vancouver had used the 2nd pick on a player who did not want to wear the jersey. So they traded him to Houston in a massive deal. Francis became Rookie of the Year and a 3-time All-Star. Vancouver moved to Memphis 2 years later. One rejection did not cause everything, but it still looked brutal. Dwyane Wade left Miami because the Heat made him feel replaceable. That sounded insane in 2016. Wade was not just another veteran, he was the face of the franchise. Finals MVP in 2006. 3 championships, the player who helped make Miami a real NBA power. He had also taken less money before, especially during the LeBron years, so the Heat could build a monster roster. Then free agency came. Wade expected respect. Miami offered less than Chicago. And suddenly, the greatest player in Heat history was wearing a Bulls jersey. Wade said he felt undervalued. Pat Riley later admitted the situation was mishandled. Wade eventually came back to Miami, but that summer still felt cold. A franchise legend gave up money for years, then had to leave to feel wanted by somebody else again too. Hakeem Olajuwon nearly forced his way out of Houston before becoming the greatest Rocket ever. That is the part people forget. Before the titles, before the MVP, before the Dream Shake became mythology, the relationship got ugly. Houston missed the playoffs in 1992. Hakeem believed the roster was not good enough. He also felt underpaid compared to other stars. Then the fight turned personal. The Rockets accused him of exaggerating a hamstring injury. His side fired back. Trade demands followed. Legal threats entered the picture. For a moment, it looked like Houston might lose the best player in franchise history. Then the twist came. The Rockets kept him hired Rudy Tomjanovich, and everything somehow flipped. 2 years later, Hakeem delivered back-to-back championships. A selfish standoff somehow became a dynasty origin story instead for Houston forever. If you like wild NBA, stories like this, subscribe. Now back to the chaos. Allen Iverson turned one missed practice into one of the most famous press conferences in sports history. The Sixers had just lost in the first round in 2002. Iverson was the reigning MVP at scoring machine and the whole offense in human form. Then reporters asked about practice, not the playoff loss. Not the roster. Practice. Iverson repeated the word again and again until the clip became immortal. And yes, his point had some truth. He played hurt-logged monster minutes and carried Philadelphia through chaos. But the moment still had a selfish edge. He publicly minimized something his coach cared deeply about. He made the conversation about his frustration, not the team's failure. Larry Brown stayed, Iverson stayed, but the tension never vanished. A few years later, the whole era was over in Philadelphia. Isaiah Thomas had the resume for the Dream Team and still got left home. By 1992, he had 2 championships, a finals, MVP 12 All-Star selections, and years of playoff battles against the best players alive. But this was not just about basketball. The Bad Boys Pistons had made enemies everywhere. Michael Jordan had history with Isaiah. Magic Johnson had his own damaged relationship with him. Other stars simply did not want him there. That is where the selfish part gets complicated. A roster called the greatest team ever was not built only on merit. It was built on grudges too. Isaiah had beaten too many people, annoyed too many people, and walked off the court at the wrong time. So one of the greatest point guards ever watched the Olympics from outside the party. Jason Kidd needed more time, so he created his own timeout. In 2013, Kidd was coaching the Brooklyn Nets against the Lakers. Late in the game, Brooklyn was down 2 with only seconds left. They still had one timeout, but Kidd wanted extra time without using it. Then cameras caught the trick. He told Tyshawn Taylor, "Hit me." Taylor bumped him. Kidd dropped his drink onto the court. Suddenly staff had to clean the floor and the Nets got a free strategy break. It was clever. It was also obvious. The NBA fined Kidd $50,000 after reviewing the footage. The funniest part, Brooklyn still lost. He bent the rules, got caught on national television, paid the fine, and did not even get the win. That is elite basketball comedy. Kobe Bryant once publicly pushed for a teenage teammate to be traded. In 2007, the Lakers were stuck. They had lost in the first round again, and Kobe was tired of waiting. So when Jason Kidd became the dream target, Kobe made his feelings clear. Move Andrew Bynum. Do it now. Bynum was only 19, still raw, and still learning how to survive in the league. But Kobe was in his prime, and patience was gone. He said the Lakers should not hesitate if Bynum could help land Kidd. That is a brutal thing to hear from your franchise superstar. The Lakers refused. Then they traded for Pau Gasol without giving up Bynum. Suddenly, everything changed. The Lakers reached the finals in 2008, then won titles in 2009 and 2010. Kobe wanted the shortcut. The front office saved the future. Dwight Howard turned one trade request into a full-season soap opera. In Orlando, he was not just a star. He was the franchise. 3 straight Defensive Player of the Year awards, a finals run in 2009, a whole team built around his rebounding blocks and power. Then he wanted out, but not cleanly. Howard named preferred teams, changed his stance, picked up his option, then wanted out again. Nobody knew what he was doing next. Then came the Stan Van Gundy moment. Van Gundy told reporters Howard had asked management to fire him. Minutes later, Howard walked over, put his arm around him, and acted like everything was fine. It was painfully awkward. Orlando eventually traded him to the Lakers. But by then, the damage was already done. Scottie Pippen delayed foot surgery before the Bulls' final championship run. And he admitted why. He did not want to mess up his summer. That one decision forced Chicago to start the 1997-98 season without its second-best player. Pippen had torn a tendon during the previous playoffs. Instead of getting surgery right after the title, he waited until September. That pushed rehab into the regular season. He missed the first 35 games. Jordan had to carry more of the offense. The defense lost its best wing stopper. And the timing was already messy. The Bulls were dealing with contract tension, front office drama, and the feeling that the dynasty was ending. Pippen was underpaid and he knew it. But the team still paid the price for his protest. Chicago won anyway. That does not erase the choice. Carlos Boozer gave Cleveland one of the coldest business lessons in NBA history. The Cavaliers had drafted him in the second round. By 2004, he looked like a perfect young front court piece next to LeBron James. Then Cleveland tried to do him a favor. The team declined his cheap option with the belief Boozer would re-sign on a richer long-term deal. That was the handshake idea. But once the option was gone, Boozer became an unrestricted free agent. Utah jumped in with a huge offer. Boozer took it. Cleveland could not match. Just like that LeBron lost a rising big man for nothing, Boozer later became an all-star with the Jazz. The Cavaliers felt betrayed. Boozer got paid. And the whole thing became a warning never trust a verbal agreement when millions are waiting on the other side. NBA history is full of highlights. But behind the banners, trades, and buzzer beaters, there are moments like these. Ego, money, pride, and one bad decision can change everything fast.